이성균 from Parasite,
죄송합니다.
Jennie from Blackpink, and now Jeongseong. Why these celebrities had to apologize in public? Who's the most famous actor in Korea right now? It's probably Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game. But there's another actor just as famous and who also happens to be Lee Jung-jae's close friend, Jeongseong. Recently, Jeongseong has become the most talked about celebrity in Korea. Today, we'll dive into various cases and explore why controversies surrounding Korean celebrities are making headlines worldwide. Why can't you see your favorite star on screen anymore? Why do some even take their own lives? Let's unpack it all. First up is a recent scandal involving Jeongseong. Here's what's out in the open. Jeongseong allegedly fathered a child with model Moongabi outside of marriage. Moongabi reportedly wanted to marry him and raise the child in the traditional family setting, but Jeongseong declined. While he said he would take legal and financial responsibility as a father, he made it clear he wouldn't marry her. This incident caught the attention of foreign media. For example, the BBC commented, quote, "South Korea has a notoriously high-pressure entertainment industry with celebrities often held to inordinately high social standards and placed under extreme scrutiny." But to fully understand this controversy, we need to consider the Korean social context and some additional details that foreign outlets may have missed. First, the relationship. Jeongseong and model Moongabi weren't officially dating, but their casual relationship led to her pregnancy. Number two, infidelity. At the time, Jeongseong was reportedly in a long-term relationship with another woman. Despite this, he had multiple encounters with Moongabi, raising questions about his fidelity. Number three, DM allegations. Witnesses claim that during this period, Jeongseong also sent private messages to other women, inviting them to meet. Number four, public image versus actions. As a former United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees ambassador, Jeongseong had built a public image centered on advocating for social responsibility, including refugee acceptance. Many felt disappointed that he seemed unwilling to fully embrace responsibility for his own child. Number five, child future. Moongabi wanted to create a stable family for the child, but Jeongseong refused marriage, offering financial support instead. Many in Korea criticize him, saying true responsibility means being present as a father, not just providing money. This isn't just about Jeongseong being a celebrity. The outrage stems from two main reasons: clash with traditional family values, his actions conflict with Korea's strong emphasis on family and fidelity. Number two, contradictory behavior. His actions are seen as hypocritical compared to the socially responsible image he presented as a United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees ambassador. In the end, this case highlights the high expectations placed on public figures in Korea and the deep cultural values that shape public reactions. Now let's talk about the tragic suicide of Lee Sung-gyun, the lead actor from Parasite, the only non-English film in history to win Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Why did he take his own life? Let me unpack the circumstances surrounding him at that time. Lee Sung-gyun was under police investigation for alleged drug use when sensitive details from the case, despite being confidential police documents, were leaked to the public and widely reported. The intense scrutiny and the stigma surrounding the allegations likely placed enormous mental pressures on him, leading to his decision. In Korea, all forms of drug use, including marijuana, are illegal, and violators, celebrity or not, face legal consequences. For the month following the initial reports, Lee Sung-gyun was under immense stress. The allegations not only centered around drug use, but also suggested an affair, as it was reported that he had used drugs multiple times at the home of a woman working in an adult entertainment establishment. Audio recordings of their phone conversations were also leaked, fueling both legal and moral criticism against him. After his death, Korean media went a step further by publishing his suicide note, despite his family explicitly asking them not to. This blatant disregard for the family's privacy and the late actor's dignity raised significant concerns about journalistic ethics in Korea. While paparazzi invading celebrities' privacy is a common issue in many countries, in Korea, it's often the journalists themselves who escalate scandals by publishing unverified rumors. This trend not only damages reputations, but can also push public figures to breaking points. The police investigation also came under fire. Lee Sung-gyun was summoned 3 times for questioning, with the last session lasting an exhausting 19 hours overnight. Such intense interrogations added to the pressures he was already facing. During the investigation, Lee publicly apologized, saying, "I deeply apologize for disappointing so many people." While celebrities, like anyone else, should face consequences for illegal actions, we need to question if the level of public expectation and scrutiny placed on them is fair. Should disappointing the public really warrant such extreme personal accountability? This tragic case highlights the harsh realities faced by public figures in Korea, where legal, media, and societal pressures often converge in devastating ways. Let's look at a third case. Jennie from Blackpink, a global superstar, also faced public criticism in Korea. The controversy began when she was caught vaping while surrounded by several staff members who were doing her hair and makeup. Why did this become a big issue? Number 1, indoor smoking. The incident took place indoors, where smoking is strictly prohibited by law in Korea. Number 2, disrespect to staff. Jennie was reportedly blowing smoke directly in the face of a staff member who was applying her makeup. In Korea, smoking indoors is illegal, and even outdoors, smoking in undesignated public spaces is considered selfish and inconsiderate. Given this social context, Jennie's actions were seen as lacking basic manners and respect, which led to widespread criticism of her character. As the controversy grew, Jennie issued an apology through her agency. BBC and CNN both commented on the situation, criticizing the intense scrutiny and high behavioral standards placed on Korean celebrities. However, these foreign perspectives often miss the unique social dynamics in Korea. Celebrities in Korea hold immense symbolic power and influence, particularly over their teenage fans. This can amplify both positive and negative reactions to their actions. Teenagers in particular are heavily influenced by celebrities and often imitate their behaviors. As a result, society holds public figures to high moral and behavioral standards to set a good example. For a deeper dive into Korean fandom culture and its impact, check out my previous video, link above. Jennie's case is another example of how celebrity behavior in Korea is held to a standard that reflects their significant social influence, especially on younger audiences. Lastly, let's talk about a case involving a professional athlete. One example is An Woo-jin, a top-tier pitcher in Korea's professional baseball league. While he is allowed to play for his pro team, he has never been selected for the national team, despite his exceptional talent. The reason? He was revealed to have been a perpetrator of school bullying during his student years. Public opinion in Korea, which the national team coach agrees with, holds that someone with such a history cannot represent the country on the world stage. Bullying is a deeply sensitive issue in Korean society. Considering the influence celebrities and athletes have on teenagers, the decision to exclude him makes sense to some extent. However, others argue that it's overly harsh to penalize someone for mistakes made over a decade ago, forcing them to bear the weight of public scrutiny for their entire life. Okay, through these 4 examples, we've seen how public figures in Korea, whether celebrities or athletes, face immense expectations and pressure from society. We've also examined the cultural and social context behind the public backlash. Foreign media often criticize Korean society for its intense scrutiny and harsh judgment of public figures. While this is partly true, such criticism sometimes lacks a full understanding of Korea's unique cultural and social context. Imagine this scenario. You are a foreign journalist covering these stories. Now, suppose your beloved daughter has a child after sleeping with a man who has no intention of marrying her or committing to her. Worse, it turns out that this man already has a long-term partner. On top of that, he's a public figure. Would you still believe society's criticism of this man is excessive and defend him? Of course, public scrutiny should never devolve into a witch hunt. Celebrities and public figures shouldn't be held to unrealistic moral standards that don't apply to others. However, given their enormous social influence, it's undeniable that their actions carry a greater responsibility. Instead of oversimplifying and condemning Korean society for its treatment of public figures, international media should make an effort to understand the cultural context and reasons behind public criticism. That's exactly why I made this video, to help foster a more nuanced understanding of Korean society. I hope this video reaches a wide audience and encourages people to think more critically before judging Korea from an outside perspective. What are your thoughts? Share them in the comments. I hope this video has deepened your understanding of Korean society. Then, see you in the next video.